Hi students, let's have a look at the learning for today so you can get your small notebooks out, and we're going to write down lesson 2.6. Whoever is in charge of helping out with the video, please just pause it whenever everyone needs to pause so people can write down and take notes. Thank you for doing that. Okay, so this is the lesson title. We're going to talk about our very last rule that we're going to learn this unit, and it's the zero exponent rule. And in this rule, so you might need to pause it if you need to go back. In this rule, basically what you have is sometimes we divide exponents. Sometimes we have the same number, okay? So we have x to the fifth divided by x to the fifth. And what this actually is it's x times x times x times x times x, right? If we were to use the expanded form, we've got 5 x's in the numerator and 5 x's in the denominator. If we were to go a little bit quicker and use the quotient rule, we would have x to the fifth divided by x to the fifth. So we would have x to the 5 minus 5, which is just x to the 0. Okay, and watch what happens with this rule. X to the 0, okay, is the same thing as this. So x divided by x is 1. We know that anything divided by itself is 1. So I can cancel all these out to 1. And now I have 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1. And this will happen every single time. So whenever you have anything in the world raised to the power of 0, it will always, always, always equal 1. Okay, it's quite interesting. Let's have a look at another example. So anytime you have, let's say you have 3 raised to the power of 4 over and divide it by 3 to the power of 4. This will happen again. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 3 divided by 3 is 1. And so what we'll get is 1 times 1 times 1 times 1, which is just 1. So 3 raised to the power of 0 is just 1. So anything 567 raised to the power of 0 is just 1. So go ahead and pause the video and try this in your calculator. Just put a bunch of random numbers in your calculator and put to the power of 0 and see what happens, because every single time it ends up being 1. And this has a lot to do with the equation, the exponential equation, which we will look at after we get back from the break. Okay, so our general rule in this case that we can write down in our notebooks, right, or our formula, our general rule is just anything raised to the power of 0 is always 1. So this one's not too complicated. This is one of my favorite rules just because it's the easiest. And we'll do a little bit of practice now. Okay, so here we've got 9 raised to the power of 0, so that will just become 1. When you have 0 raised to the power of 87, another way around, this is just 0 times 0 times 0 times 0 times 0, 87 times. So this is just 0. So when the base is 0, you get a different answer. 4 raised to the power of 0 will just be 1. I almost said 0. 5 raised to the power of 1 is just 5. Right, so I'm doing a little bit of practice problems to try to trick you. 8 raised to the power of 2 is just 8 times 8, which is 64. Okay, so when you're looking through the worksheets today, just remember, anytime you have anything, A raised to the power of 0, it's always going to be 1. B raised to the power of 0, it's just 1. Anything in the world raised to the power of 0 is always 1. Okay, and one quick example, one last example. If we have okay, and so let's take something from last lesson. So if we have 3a to the power of 0, b to the power of 2, and the whole thing cubed, remember we looked at this in the quiz and reflection. We can look at the inside first if we'd like. This is really just 3 times 1, because a to the power of 0 is just 1, times b squared, which I can just write as 3b squared. And then I can remember the power rule, and I can use this and apply, sorry about that, and then I can apply the cubed to the 3, and then b to the power of 2 times 3, which is 6. All right, so whenever you end up getting an answer, if it has to the power of 0 in it, you can actually just write that as a 1. Okay, anything raised to the power of 0. The 3, notice in this case, only the base goes to 1. The 3 does not. Only the base, okay? Not its coefficient. Okay, so what you're going to do right now with the substitute teacher is you're just going to practice 3 different worksheets. Just do your best to work through them at your table group. If you don't finish them, that's what you can do for homework. So I have a couple reminders for you right now. Our next class is a review day, so please make sure, I've already said this before, but please make sure you have a look through your small notebook and look at lessons 2.1 through 2.6 and see if you have any questions. You can also look through the review packet that I posted on Google Classroom and see if you have any questions. Please also keep the worksheets that you're going to do right now. You can keep those in your big folder. I will look at these next class, okay? And the last thing is that your homework is your normal 30 minutes of homework. You can first finish the worksheets, whatever you don't get done in class today, and then you can do lesson 2.6 homework. All right. Good luck, everybody, and I will see you on Monday or Tuesday.